Let's talk about a word we use every single day, probably without even thinking about it. Sorry. It seems so simple, right? But you'd be amazed at how complex it is and how many different jobs this one little word can do.
I mean, we've all heard stuff like this before. Ben Franklin really nails what we think an apology is all about. It's supposed to be a straight up, sincere admission that you messed up. No buts, no excuses, just taking responsibility.
But here's where it gets really interesting. What if, a lot of the time, when we say sorry, we're not actually apologizing for anything? What if the word is doing something completely different? And that's really the heart of the problem we're digging into today. The phrase, I'm sorry, doesn't just have one meaning. It's kind of like a verbal Swiss Army knife, and if you use the wrong tool for the job, things can get confusing, awkward, or even turn into a fight.
So, to get our heads around this, let's treat it like a puzzle. Here are 5 super common ways we use the word sorry. On the surface, they look similar, but each one has a totally different function. Let's solve this thing together, one piece at a time.
All right, let's start with the big one, the one we all think of first. This is the classic sorry, the one that's actually about admitting you were wrong. This is our baseline. This is what you could call the prototype apology. It's a clean, simple admission of guilt. It's our first puzzle sentence, I'm sorry, I'm late. You made a mistake, you know it, and you're owning it. Simple as that. Puzzle piece number 1, solved. Now, for this kind of apology to be the real deal, it has to have 2 key ingredients. First, you've got to have genuine regret, that feeling of, oh, I really wish that hadn't happened. And second, there has to be commitment, a promise, whether you say it out loud or not, that you're going to try your best not to do it again. Okay, moving on, because honestly, most of the time we say sorry, it has absolutely nothing to do with guilt. Instead, we're using it as a social tool, to make our interactions smoother. And check this out. This one slide knocks out 3 more pieces of our puzzle. You've got the pushy sorry, like, I'm sorry to interrupt, which is just a way to soften the fact you're about to cut someone off. Then there's the sympathy sorry. I'm sorry to hear about your problems. You're not guilty, you're just showing you care. And finally, the preamble sorry, which is just a polite little throat clearing before you ask for something. And this is the absolute key difference. Look at this. The real apology has regret, responsibility, and commitment. But these social sorries, they have none of that. You're not really sorry you're interrupting if you have something important to say. It's just a social lubricant. It's not a confession. Now for our final and definitely the trickiest piece of the puzzle. This is where sorry can get kind of dark. It's when the word stops being a bridge to connect people and, well, becomes a weapon. This is the non-apology apology. This brings us right to our last puzzle sentence. I'm sorry if you feel upset by what I said. Oh, that tiny little word if. It's a massive red flag. It's the classic sign of a pseudo-apology, one that's designed to sound like an apology while doing the exact opposite. Just look at the difference here. It's night and day. A real apology accepts responsibility. It wants to repair things. But this guilt-shifting apology, its only goal is to shift responsibility and deflect blame. And yeah, it's almost always got a hint of sarcasm to it. So what is this thing really saying under the surface? Well, for one, there is zero regret for what was done. 2, it actually flips the blame. The subtext is, the problem isn't what I did, the problem is you and your feelings. And 3, you can bet there is no commitment whatsoever to changing that behavior. And here is a perfect real-world example of this in action. The English rugby player Mako Vunipola said this about a team song. Just listen to that structure again. If people find it offensive, then sorry. See what he's doing? The subtext is so clear. He's not apologizing for the song itself. He's basically saying the fault lies with the people who chose to be offended by it. The responsibility gets completely flipped from him to the listener. So how do you spot one of these in the wild? Well, your ears are your best tool. A real apology usually has a falling tone, but this kind of non-apology, it often has this rising, questioning tone at the end that just drips with sarcasm. Sorry? Okay, so we've solved the puzzle, we've got all 5 pieces. But so what? Why is it so critical to understand these different shades of sorry? Well, because getting it wrong can lead to some seriously awkward miscommunications.
See, when we hear the word sorry, our brain's default setting is to think it's that guilt admission apology. But what happens when the person saying it means something totally different?
This slide just lays it out perfectly. Imagine someone says, "I'm sorry to hear about your money troubles," and you reply, "Don't worry, no harm done." It's just bizarre, right? They were showing sympathy, not admitting guilt. Or even worse, someone hits you with a sarcastic non-apology, and you say, "Don't apologize." You've completely missed the job and let them off the hook.
So if you take one thing away from all of this, let it be this. You have to listen for the intention behind the word, not just the word itself. You have to ask yourself, okay, what job is sorry doing right now? Is it guilt, sympathy, or something else entirely? And knowing this isn't just about decoding what other people say to you. It's a two-way street. It also makes you a better communicator because you can be much more clear and intentional when you're the one saying sorry. So it all comes down to this. One little word, sorry, with at least 5 completely different jobs to do. It can express deep regret, or it can be used to subtly shift blame onto someone else. It's pretty incredible. So I'll just leave you with this to think about. The next time you hear someone say sorry, or more importantly, the next time you open your mouth to say it yourself, just take a second and ask yourself, what do I really mean?